Welcome to Athens Politics Nerd. Today I've got an interview with Rashe Malcolm, candidate for commission in District 6. This is an open seat after Commissioner Jesse Houle announced they were stepping down. Former ACC internal auditor Stephanie Johnson is also running, but she declined the interview. Here's Rashe Malcolm. Thanks for joining me, Rashe.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
So first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am the owner and chef of Rashe's Cuisine. I'm also the founding director for Farm to Neighborhood, as well as the Culinary Kitchen of Athens. I've been in Athens for 30 years. Super active in Athens for the last 20 plus years in the community. As I stated, I live here in District 6. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a neighbor, a daughter, you name it. I'm kind of a little bit of everything to everybody. And the reason why I want to run for District 6 is I just want to see District 6 get back to that vibrant District 6 that we all know and love. Not that we've totally lost our sparkle and charm, but, you know, we had a little exodus over to Epps-Bridge. And so I just want to kind of see us get back to being that strong economic hold that we were.
And if elected, what would be your top priorities for your first term in office?
So definitely public safety. For me, public safety is not just about police, fire, and other safety officers. It's also about our infrastructure. It's also about our peace of mind, our well-being, our feeling like the community is a community. And, you know, we're not, doing this back and forth, kind of what we see in the current climate. It really is about us feeling like we can raise our kids together, we can work together, we can make decisions together as a community. It doesn't make everybody happy, but our public safety includes everyone feeling like they belong in the community and they have a voice, and we're all very active. Our infrastructure is definitely one that I will be on from day one. We have issues all the way from bridges on Fowler Drive. We have sewer issues in Oak Grove. We have stormwater issues here. By Whitehead. We have traffic issues on Tallahassee and Atlanta Highway. And then we also have like flooding at the mall. You hear a lot about that now just because of the new redevelopment that they're about to do. So we have a lot of old infrastructure here around Athens, but especially here in District 6, where we border other counties that are really starting to get a boom, like Oconee, Barrow, and Jackson County. And so some of our infrastructure is shared with some of those bordering counties. And these are things that we don't really get addressed.
Yeah, I think the mall area is going to be a lot better once they add in all the green space and the stormwater infrastructure.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that development and how it's looking so far?
So I thought that the development was a great idea and a great boost to the area. It has become somewhat of an eyesore, just because of, aging and not really keeping up, as they say, with the times when we think of commercial spaces like a shopping mall. But I do have residents that have concerns because they're like, well, you put in all this housing, we're already paying high taxes, it's going to raise our taxes. But then I have a lot of seniors who have come to me and said, we need this, we want this. We've lived in our homes 40, 50, 70 years. And, we want the value of our homes to go up. Now, they don't want the taxes, but they do want the value of the homes. And they like the idea of new people coming into the community and then being able to have that walkable space and new shops, places that they can literally walk outside of their home and go to. And others around the county are looking forward to being able, especially with the buses still being free, being able to get on the bus again and go out to the mall, and enjoy themselves and, feel like they can go somewhere and not have to worry about parking and things like that. And like you said, in the green space, just feeling like we don't have a lot of parks in District 6. So, just feeling like we have a place in a space that we can walk, we can shop, we can play, we can hang out with our families of all ages and still be able to go home and, feel comfortable, safe. And I would not be remiss if I didn't mention the economic development portion of people being able to have jobs as well as having businesses. So,
and you started 2 nonprofits, and one especially to help out small food trucks, right?
That is correct. So the Culinary Kitchen of Athens really focuses on shared spaces. I'm really big on, with us not having much space left in Athens, as you always hear about, taking some of these older buildings and redeveloping them and having them shared spaces so that several different entrepreneurs can go in them and have a business. It's not only good for the environment, it's not only good for the density, it allows for more housing and not just worried about commercial space, but it's also good for the affordability of these small businesses that want to be able to have a chance to see their business thrive. If you're a baker, you'd love to be the next Pillsbury, right? We say we don't, but in essence, we want to be our authentic selves, but we would love to grow. We would love to be able to, hire several people in the community, pay, living wages and, be able to have that great reputation to be internationally known. And I would love for us to go back to the idea where we had the stamp that said made in Athens. To me, that's what Athens is about. It's a town full of creatives. And although we're creative in so many different areas, but those shared spaces give, artists a space, food services and other creatives, as well as other small businesses. That's why the mall development is such a great idea. And even owning a plaza, that's why these spaces are such a great idea. It gives so many people a chance to be able to live out their dreams of having their own business.
How do you think that we can help small businesses sort of start, grow and develop and really help people make a living doing what they love?
So I think we have programs that are available to small startups. Where I started the Culinary Kitchen of Athens is because the hiccup becomes, okay, so you teach me how to start a business, you teach me how to fill out the forms, and then I start my business. And then it may take off like a rocket. It may stall a little bit, or it may go and then maybe slow down. There aren't many programs out there or organizations or programs out there for people once you started. There's plenty of money when you want to start, to an extent. Now I want to be clear. I don't want to over exaggerate that. Just meaning that, you have places like Goodwill and, Athens Land Trust, EADC. A lot of those places have programs where they help people start businesses, and they have a lot of other organizational help. So that you don't have to pay to go and learn how to, start your business. That's what I mean by that. But once you, especially like at farmers markets, you get to that second year, third year, fourth year, by the fifth year, you're kind of looking like, okay, is this really what I'm doing? Or is this what people would call a hobby, right? And so that's why Culinary Kitchen was developed, to say, okay, you've made the first step, and so now you need to go to the next step. And in our case, you go from a home license to a commercial license.
Okay. Affordable housing, as you know, has been a huge issue in Athens over the past few years. The local government released a study last year that found that rents have gone up by 54% over the past decade, while average household income has only gone up by 29% over that same period of time. So that, to me, just doesn't seem sustainable. The study's main recommendation was for the local government to invest $5 million a year into a local housing fund, which could help to triple the creation of affordable housing in Athens. What are your thoughts on making that sort of investment? Can we afford that?
So I'm going to tell you, I am very, very big on the land banks. And what I mean by land banks, for anybody who's listening that doesn't understand, that means county-owned land. We have land banks for a reason. We actually had a commission for the land banks, and I've been trying to investigate on what happened. Where did it go? We have developments like, the East Athens Development Corporation and Athens Land Trust that are set up that federally they're recognized to help with land bank type housing, if that makes sense. Like they can go out and purchase housing and then they, can get funding to be able to build those housing a little cheaper than let's say some developers. But when we start thinking about the cost of building housing, we have to consider how difficult is it for the developer to be able to get the permitting, right, to develop this, but what is the cost of the land? So if we start with our county-owned land, if we start with, like I always say about businesses, using some of these abandoned commercial spaces, using some of these abandoned housing, then yes, it would make sense to put aside, $5 million to help, because essentially the county is rotating the money in property that's already owned. We have a little bit better control of that.
Money's really tight, and there's a lot of needs. We have a lot of stormwater needs. We have other infrastructure needs.
Yes.
Just like paying the county workers enough to want to stay there is really expensive every year.
Right.
So this is just like one priority among many. But is that a priority that you would that you would consider important enough to invest in?
Yes, and can I just elaborate a little bit? So when we talk about our infrastructure needs and like stormwater, what I've been able to research, right? I was one of those ones who was like, the government doesn't tell us what's going on and da-da-da. So I signed up for the IDA board. That's how it all started. Work my way up to chairman. And the same thing with the chamber.
And that's the Industrial Development Authority?
Yes, I'm sorry. That's the Industrial Development Authority, which is one of, what do we have here? 11, 12 authorities here in Athens. Yeah, there's quite a bit. Because you have economic development, downtown development, airport authority, the Paul Chambers, the new development out there, the Classic Center is even an authority, right? So we have a lot of authorities in Athens. But when we bring in these new industries, one of the requirements is they have to help build new infrastructure, which doesn't just help where they're building, it also helps the communities that they're surrounding. And so it's the same thing with these developers. When they're coming in and they're wanting to build new subdivisions, we're requiring them to also contribute to building new infrastructure. I know that, I've talked to Spencer, and that's the Habitat for Humanity. Even with their Mica Creek, they're putting in new infrastructure. This is going to help with other housing and even current residents, who have housing now, down the line. And so this is how we're helping to afford to pay for a lot of those projects and for a lot of the communities. So these are things that have to be considered when you say, well, we want this development or we don't want that development. Like some of those developments are coming in and they're also providing some of those basic needs that we need here in the community besides just the housing. Now, whether or not $5 million is that exact dollar amount, I'm not going to go on camera and say I commit to that. I will say that an investment into our county-owned land specifically would be a wonderful opportunity for us to showcase our commitment to affordable housing and even making more affordable housing here in Athens without pushing out communities.
Okay. And your opponent has made government transparency an issue in this campaign. She says she wants a public database of all expenditures similar to the one in Glendale, Arizona. And it also reminds me of one our local government has already for American Rescue Plan funding. You can see exactly where everything's going to the different projects, how much has been spent so far. So I think that's pretty great. So do you think a database like the one in Glendale, Arizona would be a good idea for Athens? And how transparent do you think the ACC government is right now, just in general, in your opinion?
Okay. I think I just said 2 questions ago, I was one of those ones who was like, what is our government doing? They're not telling us. And I'm going to tell you, our government can do a much better job in marketing and advertising and making it a lot easier for the information, but it is out there. It took me going into the system and having to learn the system to go, oh, wait. They have this book called A to Z ACC. And like, I went in ready to ask Blaine all these questions, and it was Blaine, Nikki, and Josh I was going to have a meeting with, and I had all of these questions lined up that I was going to ask them. And I was sitting in the lobby going through this book that I'd never seen. I've been here 30 years, I've never seen the book. So I'm going through this book and I'm like, take this question. So I will say, as far as transparency, I mean, it's kind of like when you're marketing for your nonprofit, how do you get the information out to everybody? You want to meet everybody where they are. You have people who are disinterested in politics, especially in the political climate. But there are things that I have seen and read. People say, well, the government's not transparent. And I'm like, I literally sat there watching them make these decisions, on YouTube or, on Facebook, where me and a group of friends, which is going to be hard for me. We watch the commission meetings and then we make our commentary, and we are really hilarious and sometimes not so nice. So I don't know what they're going to say about me behind my back if I win. But the point is that the information is out there, but we do need to do a better job in ensuring that it's more readily accessible and it's more known to the public that the information is out there. The websites aren't as user-friendly as I would like. I mean, they really aren't. Forms aren't always as easy. The processes aren't always as easy. Does that mean that it's not out there? No. What that means is that we can do a better job making it easy for our constituents to be able to get the information and to be able to navigate it and understand it. And then I would also venture to say that, this is where we as representatives come into play, is that we should also be doing as good a job, talking to our constituents and having that ability for them to ask one-on-one questions, or especially when it comes to important issues, right? Really big issues, having those meetings in your districts and saying, hey, I don't know if you know this, but this is out there. This is coming, and give people an opportunity. And I'm not saying there aren't commissioners not doing that now, but I'm just saying that these are some examples and ideas that I feel like we could do a much better job at, so that the constituents feel like they're very well informed.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. The information is there, but a lot of times you have to dig, and people are busy, so they don't really have the time or the inclination to do that. And so, yeah, I definitely understand. Some
of us own a business and running nonprofits and then had the audacity to run for commission. Time is of the essence, Chris.
So why should voters choose you over your opponent on May 21st?
Well, I believe in being community. I've shown that I'm part of the community. I've invested financially, not just my time in the community. I have developed relationships both inside and outside the community to do what's best for our community as a whole. I have done this specifically in District 6 as well as other districts as well. And so I feel like right now, we need a commission that is a more balanced. I will say that. I think that, having too far to one side or the other, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but this is just truly how I feel. I feel like, we've really gotten away from saying, hey, you aren't the only one who lives in this district. Some people, don't believe in bike lanes. Some people do. Some people don't believe in climate control. Some people do. Some people say, well, Rashe, all you preach about is small businesses and economic development. On that case, what about the living wage? Everybody can't own a business. Well, I say everybody can't work for somebody. And people deserve to have choices. And I believe in those choices, and I believe in listening. I know I tug on my ear a lot, but because I listen, that's how I've been able to navigate the waters to get to where I am today. People say, well, how do you do it? Because I listen, I reach out for partnerships. I don't know everything. That's why there's experts. And I believe in reaching out to those experts. So when we know how to have people in place who know how to work well together, who know how to listen and how to figure out what's best for the community, we're not going to make everybody happy. And that's okay. But at least we will make decisions that are best for Athens, and we won't make everyone feel alienated. And that's why I feel like you should vote for me for Athens-Clarke County District 6. Because I'm working hard for your vote. I always wanted to do that.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that we haven't been able to get to so far that you'd like to talk about?
You know, if it's okay if I could just take 1 minute, I promise I won't take long. I want to look in your camera and tell the constituents, anyone who's listening to this, I know right now it's difficult, especially in this political climate, especially, right now where it feels like you can't, say whether you're an R, D, I, element of P, X, Q, whatever the case may be, without someone judging you or pushing back. But we really do have to get back to understanding that we have to coexist. We have to coexist unless we're going to create bubbles. And so if you want to be able to move forward, you want to be able to have that peace and that safety and the life for our future generations, as well as being able to have money in your pocket and being able to help others so that we can pull everybody up, so we can move everyone forward, we need to start paying attention to our politics. Votes do matter. It doesn't feel that way, but votes matter. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I would love for you to vote for me. But whoever you vote for, vote your conscience, but vote. Go out and vote and get involved in the process. So then this way you don't have to worry about saying you don't know what's going on. All of those meetings are public, including the Industrial Development Authority Board. We post when we're going to have them. You can come and sit in those board meetings. You can go down to the commission meetings. If you can't go, be like me and just watch it on Facebook. If you missed the Facebook, watch it on YouTube. But please, we need to get back to being engaged and talking amongst each other on what is going to be best for us. Because if you keep your voice silent, the only voice will be heard are the ones that are barking the loudest. And if you don't feel like they don't represent you, then it's time for you to stand up and rise up and be able to say enough is enough. We want our community back. And that is how we will move Athens forward. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks so much to the APN members who make these interviews possible. You can become a member by signing up to donate $5 a month at athenspoliticsnerd.com/donate. Next up, we'll interview the District 2 candidates. See you then.